The next thing we're going to talk about is contributions in the program. The first thing we want to look at is the fund setup information. I'm coming up to setup admin and then to fund setup. When you're looking at the fund setup screen, you're looking at a couple pieces of information. The first thing is your fund number and name. Underneath of that, we have our fund periods. The periods are going to be normally a calendar year for your regular type of contribution funds, like your offering fund. For school tuition, they're normally a year, but they may start and end on different dates. So you might have August through July, or you might have April through March. For a capital campaign, those dates are typically going to be a longer period, where it might be 5 years or 3 years, something like that. You're going to have a longer period inside of that. Your fund, you have groups and activities. Activities are the actual items that you're posting to, and groups are just ways of organizing those activities inside of your fund. So you're not going to post any of the groups, but they're ways that you can organize them for reporting purposes. Each of the activities has a function. Most of your functions are going to be payment deductible, which means it's a tax deductible donation. Sometimes you might have other things in here, like a charge. If we're doing a capital campaign or tuition, you might have non-cash contributions. You may have balance activities, totals, quid pro quos, other types of things inside of here. You can rearrange these groups at any point. You can use the reorder buttons down at the bottom, and you can rearrange things back and forth. It'll move all the contributions posted to that activity however we reorder them. We can also add items into our activity list by hitting the insert button at the bottom of the screen. And we don't want to insert a predefined group of activities, then I can type in a new group name or a new activity name and call it whatever I want to and give it whatever function I would want to. We can also use an insert button up at the top to add the new period in, and that's normally how we advance our funds for regular donation funds. The reason we wouldn't use this insert button is if we're trying to roll over terms and rates because they have EFT set up or they have a tuition account set up, or if we're trying to add it to a specific group of people as opposed to everybody in the program. We're looking at contributions on a family level. We're able to see donations that were posted to that family. So I'm under contributions, and right now I'm on the rates and history and keyword screen. I can see the fund that I'm on here, and I can choose different funds over on the right to go to. So I can drop this down and choose whichever fund I would like to view. Terms and rates at the top if I have terms and rates filled in, and then I can see my history information on the bottom. On the screen, it's going to allow me to see totals due through today, totals paid through today, and current balance. I can also adjust that to see grand total for all dates as opposed to just what's due through today. I can see a monthly breakdown over here and an activity breakdown right here. My billing address section allows me to fill in a different billing address so that someone other than the registered family can receive the bill. And under statements, we have the ability to say, do we want to send a courtesy copy to the family and a statement to this address, send a courtesy copy here and a statement to the family. We have a variety of choices with that. I have a view print button and a fund filter button over on the left. The view print allows me to do a summary very quickly for the family that I'm on. I can look at all funds and periods, a single fund or a single fund period, depending on what I'm looking for. And I can view either the history information, or I can view the recap information or the recap with more detail, depending on what I'm looking for with that. And I can print that information out. Filter button. That's going to allow me to filter the families on my screen based off of what funds they have set up. So if I choose 409, which is my capital campaign fund, when I use my arrow buttons at the top, I'm only going through families that have that fund set up as opposed to all of my families in the program. So it just makes it easier when we're trying to look at a specific fund. And I can click on Fund Filter again and Clear Filter to take that back out. Post information into the family. We do that with the quick posting process on the left-hand side. Normal entry method is the payments and donations. For a second. This is normally the screen that you'll see when you're going in to do a quick posting. It's going to be the options that you have for that. Normally you would want to post by ID number and name. It means you can enter either the envelope number or the name, but you don't have to do both. We normally don't post check numbers, comments, or print receipts because normally we don't have that information for our offering fund. And we normally repeat fund number, year, date, and activity. You can choose to print receipts or total your ID numbers. You can export total information to PDS Ledger or to QuickBooks, and you can post member attendance information. We do normally want to use both active and inactive. It means I can post to either active or inactive families. And most places don't turn on the vocal confirmation because it makes the posting take longer while you're waiting for it to read back to you what you just typed in. I'm going to hit Use OK. It'll remember those settings for me for the next time. The first thing it wants is my fund number, then the year I'm posting for, the date I'm posting for, and I have all of mine available to me that are in that fund. Then I'm going to put in the envelope number and press enter. It's going to show me the family name up at the top. It's going to show me if they have any terms and rates set up. It's also going to allow me to add or change their rates from here, view their history if I wanted to see what they gave previously to this fund period in case they forgot to fill the envelope amount or the amount in the envelope. And I can also change the address from there as well. So I put in the amount, I press enter. It's going to repeat the first 4 columns for me. I'm ready for my next number and amount, and I can keep moving down through there. I can also put a name in if I don't have the envelope number in front of me. And I just keep going through. At the bottom of the screen, we do have the ability to say options, which will take me back to my options screen in case I had a couple check numbers that needed to get filled in. I can print this screen out before I post it in case I wanted to check for any errors. I can save the screen, which just allows me to take a phone call, do something like that, and I can come back to where I was. I have my Finish Later button, which is going to allow me to stop the batch where I'm at and close out of the program. So I hit Finish Later. It's going to say it's batch 515. Am I sure? I say yes. Close the machine, whatever I need to do. The next time I come back in, it's going to say, here's the batches that you've started but haven't finished. And I can either choose to get rid of the batch, I can ignore it and start a new batch, or I can use the existing batch to go right back to where I was. Once I'm done, I hit my Post to Families and Members. It's going to say, am I ready to post? I say yes. And it's going to give me the ability to print the information if I want. I can print summaries or a detailed list depending on what I'm looking for. There are 3 types of mistakes that typically get made when you're posting. The first is I just made an individual mistake. I posted $5 to the Van Loon family, and it should have been $50. I can just click on their contribution screen, pull up the family, and make the correction. And that's all I need to do. The second type of mistake is a mistake that you made the same mistake through the entire batch. I posted this for offering. It should have been so I can come over to Processes on the left and move Fund Entries that were posted to Fund 113 for May 5th. All of those should keep the same fund and the same date, but I want to move them to donation or whatever it is that I want to choose. I could also adjust the fund or the date. I hit next. It's going to go through for me and find all of the entries that were in my batch, and I can choose to include them or not include them with my change, next, and finished. And that's going to go ahead and correct my entire batch for me at one time, and it's going to show me what it adjusted there. I could choose to move another group. The third type of mistake is the I have no idea what I did, I just know it was wrong mistake, and that's what the delete batch command is for. It allows me to take out an entire batch at once in case I just mess the whole thing up and want to start over. We're going to look at dashboard with our next section.